Welcome to another episode of the explanatory video series. During the COVID-19 outbreak, there were reports on fake certificates used by rogue operators to sell substandard medical devices, PPEs, masks, sanitizers, etc., putting in danger the lives of many people worldwide. A report by the OECD and the EU's Intellectual Property Office stated that trade in counterfeit and pirated goods has risen steadily in the last few years and now stands at 3.3% of global trade. Trends in trade in counterfeit and pirated goods puts the value of imported fake goods worldwide at around $500 billion. The risk posed by counterfeited products is significant, as these products may be ineffective or have the potential to cause harm or even death. In simple words, products attempting to access the market need to prove compliance with the requirements set forth by the market authorities, including the proper testing or certification to prove conformity to those requirements. Well, as the counterfeit products cannot have a certificate proving their conformity, some may try to sneak them in using fake certificates. These can be product certificates or management system certificates, depending on the market requirements. For example, during COVID-19 outbreak, UK officials seized millions of substandard face masks and thousands of fake hand sanitizers. The face masks, worn by many per guidelines of medical officials, could have put millions at risk of contracting or spreading the virus. In this video, we give you 10 tips that may help in spotting a counterfeit certificate. In descending order, tip number 10, changes in font. The same font and font size is typically used throughout the variations only in areas on the document where it makes sense or is logical. So if you notice inconsistency in line spacing, alignment, and font size, that's a sign of unprofessional editing. Tip number 9, changes in language. Typically, the language is consistent throughout the document. Abrupt changes in the language without a logical explanation should be considered suspicious. Tip number 8, deviation of normal branding. Accredited certification bodies spend considerable amount of time and money creating and protecting their branding. Usually certification documents look professional and are in line with their overall brand. So anything that appears to deviate from this is certainly suspicious. Tip number 7, distorted or wrong logos. Accredited certification bodies give special care to using their logos on a certificate with the appropriate dimensions, resolution, size, color, and position in the document. Often documents that are falsified will use a logo that is distorted, the wrong color, obsolete, or incorrect. Tip number 6, inconsistent information. Information presented in a certificate should match the product and be consistent throughout. Inconsistencies in the information are red flags of falsified documents. Tip number 5, misformatted documentation. Accredited certifiers put effort to ensure their documentation is properly formatted with clear and organized content. So be careful if the certificate looks sloppy or is not in a professional-looking format. That is certainly suspicious. Tip number 4, misspelling of common words. The review process that accredited CBs go through when editing their certificates keeps the possibility of finding misspelling of common words very unlikely. So if you find mistakes like the misspelling of common words, that's a good indicator that the documentation was not done by an accredited organization. Tip number 3, poor grammar. Poor grammar is a common characteristic of counterfeit certificates. So if you notice improper use of the language and poor grammar, that's an indication that the certificate was done by rogue operators. Tip number 2, very cheap or very fast to get. The certification process follows internationally agreed practices and requires time and expertise from the certification body. So if the certificate was too easy and cheap to get, you may want to make sure if it was really provided by the accredited certifier mentioned in the certificate. Tip number 1, check the certificate on the CB website. The ultimate tip to be really sure is to check the certificate with the certification body directly. Accredited CBs are required to provide information on their certification by search engines on their websites or by responding to the certification verification requests. So if you are suspicious about the authenticity of a certificate, go to the source and verify it with the CB. The International Accreditation Forum is currently working on a global database for management system accredited certificates worldwide. Many accredited CBs already started uploading their certificates in the database from around the globe. Hopefully, this database would be the perfect one-stop solution to verify certificates very easily. If you like this video, you can check our video on how to verify medical devices management system certificates step by step. Also, our video on the difference between product certificates and management system certificates. And finally, do not forget to subscribe to IAF YouTube channel to get more explanatory videos like this one.